Hello guys and welcome to Planet 40k. We're just opening our new Tyranids channel. Don't know what we're going to call it yet. The Tyranids Hive Fleet, I don't know, whatever. Maybe put something in the comments down below if you've got any suggestions for what we could call this channel. But today we're going to be talking about the Tyranid HQs, there's 10 of them, and the best synergy units for those said HQs. So let's jump straight into it, starting off with the Broodlord. So for the Broodlord, I've gone with the Gene Stealers, quite a common one. Well, first of all, this is the movement. The Broodlord as well as the Gene Stealers are both moving at 8 inches, so they're going to keep up with one another quite nicely. Second of all, of course, the Broodlord's Synapse, so he's going to be making sure those Gene Stealers are not failing morale. You've of course got the Invuln saves, which are very common with the Broodlord as well as the Gene Stealers. The Broodlord's got the 4+, the Gene Stealers have the 4+ in melee, but a 5+ at range. Both units have also got the Vanguard Predator ability, so they can be effectively using concealed positions, so you can deploy anywhere on the battlefield more than 9 inches away from enemy units and the enemy deployment zone. And furthermore, the Gene Stealers have got an ability which is Infiltration Spawning, which effectively allows you to take a Broodlord without taking up any battlefield role slots. There is one more ability, which is the Vicious Insight from the Broodlord, which allows a core unit within Synaptic Link range to add 1 to their armor penetration characteristics on an unmodified roll of a 6. So as the Gene Stealers have got quite a lot of attacks, 4 attacks per Gene Stealer, you can expect quite a few 6s with a max unit of 10 of them, and that puts their AP to -4 AP, which doesn't even give a Space Marine troop an armor save. So that's my first piece of synergy for the video, the Broodlord going with the Gene Stealers. Next we come on to the Hive Tyrant, and I've gone with the Tyrant Guard. Now the reason for the Tyrant Guard going with the Hive Tyrant is, well, first of all, the Guardian Organism ability. So when you've got a friendly Hive Tyrant that's within 3 inches of your Tyrant Guard, then your Tyrant Guard will be able to use their Lookout Sir ability even if they've got fewer than 3 models remaining. Which is pretty nice because they've got 4 wounds each as well as a 2+ armor save. And further to add to this, you can even use this on characters that have got more than 9 wounds. So of course Hive Tyrants have got 12 wounds, so this Lookout Sir ability still applies to that model. Then this synergy has got the Tyrant Goading ability, so while the Tyrant Guard are within 3 inches of the Hive Tyrant again, they're going to get 1 additional attack per model. Now they currently have 3 attacks per model, they get even more with the Scything Talons, but that could be increased to 4, and then again if you've got Scything Talons, even more. The Hive Tyrant's got the Will of the Hive Mind ability, so in the command phase, a core unit within Synaptic Link range gets to reroll hit rolls of a 1, pretty nice for those Tyrant Guard, and also the Ablative Brood ability, which allows you to have a Hive Tyrant and the Tyrant Guard, and the Tyrant Guard are not going to be taking up a battlefield role within your detachment. So for me this synergy works best with the more aggressive Hive Fleet such as Behemoth, or maybe even a resilient Hive Fleet such as Leviathan. Either way, this synergy is pretty decent, and it's going to keep your Hive Tyrant up and running. Next we come on to one of my personal favourite synergies within the Tyranid Codex, which is the Neurothrope, and I'm going to be pairing these with the Zonethropes. Quite an obvious one here, but this is why. So first of all, the Zonethropes are a great defence for our Neurothropes because of course they're providing the Lookout Sir ability, because that Neurothrope is under 9 wounds. You only need to have 3 models or more to provide that Lookout Sir ability, and if you've got 6 Zonethropes, you're going to do that just fine. Both units are pretty resilient with Invuln saves. The Neurothrope's got the 3+, the Zonethropes have got the 4+, and if your Zonethropes go down in wounds, you can always use that Spirit Leech ability from your Neurothrope to be bringing back wounds for your Zonethrope units. Furthermore, you can even cast Catalyst from either of the units because they're both Psycho units for that 5+ Feel No Pain save. Now I would cast it on the Zonethropes rather than the Neurothrope. It's more likely that the Zonethropes are going to get targeted, again going back to that Lookout Sir ability. The Warp Siphon ability from the Neurothrope is going to help the Zonethropes with those Super Smites, particularly from their Warp Blast ability, because you're going to throw a ton of mortal wounds from that ability itself. And finally that Cybrood ability will allow you to take the Zonethropes as well as the Neurothropes without those Zonethropes taking up a battlefield role slot. So one of the best pieces of synergy for me in this codex. Let's move on to the next one. And it's one of the named characters, which is Old One Eye. Now Old One Eye himself is a Carnifex as well, and I've gone with the Carnifexes in fact. He's got similar stats as your Carnifex Brood have, all moving at 8 inches, all got Strength 6, Toughness 7, 9 wounds with 2+ armor save, and have all got the Armoured Eco-Skeleton for that -1 to the damage. So very similar in terms of the stat lines, and both also get extra attacks on the charge, which is a nice bonus too. Now the main piece of synergy when using Old One Eye with the Carnifexes is the Alpha Leader ability, which allows a Carnifex model within 9 inches to be able to add 1 to any attack hit rolls, which is nice because you can even use this for range attacks. So if you're playing with a less aggressive Carnifex model at range, then you can do this while hitting on a 3+, potentially even 2s if you upgrade the Carnifex's enhanced senses within its war gear. Now admittedly you can get buffs elsewhere within the Tyranid Codex with a cheaper HQ, such as a Hive Tyrant giving you the rerolls of 1s, but we are specifically talking about Old One Eye here today, so I'm going to be going with Old One Eye and the Carnifexes. Next we have Big Mama, which is the Tervigon, and of course gone with the Termagants. Now first of all, Synapse is going to be very helpful for Termagants because you're going to be losing quite a lot of them. They've only got a toughness of 3 and a 5+ armor save, and their leadership is only a leadership value of a 5, so having Synapse from your Tervigon is very helpful for these little guys. Now the Tervigon's got the Spawn Termagants ability. In the command phase you're going to be selecting one friendly Termagants unit within 6, and you're going to be bringing back 2d6 destroyed models and bring them back to the unit. And then also once per battle you can actually spawn a new unit of Termagants within 6 inches of your Tervigon. That unit's going to contain 10 Termagants, and they're going to be equipped with the Flesh Borers. Now that's only once per game, and this won't be costing you any reinforcement points until some sort of chapter approved tells you otherwise. She's then got the Brood Progenitor ability. In the command phase you select a Termagant's unit within Synaptic Link range, which I'm sure they will be, they're going to be very close, and it's going to give your Termagants a +1 to your attack's hit rolls at range. So they're going to be hitting on a 3+ rather than a 4+. That's going to synergize quite nicely, in particular if you're taking the Gorgon Hive fleet, because they're actually wounding on a 4+, and especially if you're taking the Devourers in particular, because they're only strength 3. So if you're wounded on a 4+, and you're also getting a +1 to the hit rolls as well, that's going to be a pretty decent bit of synergy. And finally, the Wall of Flesh ability from your Tervigon. This one can be quite a confusing ability. When your Termagants are within 1 inch of your Tervigon, if the unit contains 15 or more models and is closer to enemy models than your character model, you can use the Lookout Sir ability for your Tervigon even though the character has more than 9 wounds. Very situational, that ability, but it is something that only can be done with the Termagants and the Tervigon. So that's the synergy there for the Tervigon. Let's move on to the next one, which I believe is the Swarmlord. So for the Swarmlord, again I've gone with the Tyrant Guard for this one. Now I know they've had a previous entry in this video, but this of course is another Hive Tyrant model. So we're kind of going over old ground slightly here, but the Guardian's Organism ability to be able to give that Lookout Sir ability to your Swarmlord from your Tyrant Guard, that's going to be pretty useful, as well as the Tyrant Goading ability to gain additional attacks for your Tyrant Guard within 3 inches of your Swarmlord. They're not going to be taking up a battlefield role if you're taking a Swarmlord as well, but the Swarmlord has also got his own unique abilities that will aid the Tyrant Guards. So first of all, the Domination of the Hive Mind, so a core unit within Synaptic Link range gets to reroll all hit rolls. That could be pretty cool if you're taking the Crushing Claws on your Tyrant Guard. He's also got the Hive Commander ability, so a core unit within Synaptic Link range will gain objectives secured, which is of course pretty nice, especially going up for your primaries as maybe even your secondaries as well. So yeah, not much else to say that hasn't already been said in this video for the Swarmlord, so we're going to be moving on to the Trygon Prime. So with the Trygon Prime, I've gone with the Hormagaunts. Now why have I gone with the Hormagaunts? First of all, the movement matches the Trygon Prime, both moving at 10 inches, so they're going to be keeping up with your Trygon Prime on the move. Synapse of course is going to be very useful for your Hormagaunts because they're going to be getting splattered throughout the game, so being able to ignore morale tests and things like that is going to be very key to keep them up and running. Now they won't be providing the Lookout Sir ability because of course your Trygon Prime has more than 9 wounds. However, the likelihood is your opponent isn't going to be able to target your Trygon Prime in melee because they've got to get through quite a lot of bugs to do so. The Trygon Prime's also got the Bio Impulses ability, so you're selecting a core Hive Fleet unit within Synaptic Link range. It's going to give them a +1 to their advanced rolls as well as a +1 to their charge rolls as well, which is going to be very useful for Hormagaunts because overall that is what they want to do. They want to fight, they want to do their extra piling move with the Bounding Leap ability, and they just want to be tying stuff down to allow your Trygon Prime to maneuver through the battlefield to get to the more juicier targets. Now there's also the Subterranean Assault stratagem available to the Trygon Prime, which allows him to pop up in the reinforcement step of your movement phase using the Death from Below ability, and you can also select a troops unit within strategic reserves and set that unit up wholly within 9 inches of your Trygon Prime, and of course not within 9 inches of enemy models. So if you wanted to bring them out from strategic reserve, which is now of course free within this new Arks of Omen chapter approved book, so it's not going to cost you any CP to put these units into strategic reserves. So that's why I've gone with the Hormagaunts, going with the Trygon Prime today. Next we come on to the Tyranid Prime, and of course you're going to be selecting the Tyranid Warriors as the best synergy for the Tyranid Prime for a number of reasons. All very similar stats and very similar loadouts in fact, with the war gear, the weaponry, the datasheet. Now the Warriors won't need the Synapse because they've actually got their own Synapse, but if you are battle forged and you're taking the Tyranid Warriors, then your Tyranid Prime won't be taking up any battlefield role slots within your detachment. Now the Tyranid Prime has the Alpha Warrior ability So a core unit within Synaptic Link range is going to be re-rolling wound rolls of a 1, so that could be working on a number of different weapons that the Tyranid warriors can take. They've got options of the Barbed Stranglers, the Death Spitters, the Venom Cannons, you name it. They've got quite a lot of different weaponry options at their disposal. And of course they also will be providing the Lookout Sir ability on your Tyranid Prime, which is one of the cheapest HQs within the Tyranid Codex. So if you wanted to go cheap with your HQ, you didn't want to invest too much in that battlefield role, your Tyranid Prime could be the way to go. Selecting some objective secure warriors to hold maybe the back lines, as well as having that synapse at the back as well. That could be one option for you guys to take. So we're on to the penultimate one, which is the Winged Hive Tyrant, and this time I've not gone with Tyrant Guard. Of course they're not going to be keeping up with this thing, so we've gone with the Raveners. So even though the Winged Hive Tyrant is moving 16 inches, the Raveners have got a decent movement of 12 inches, so they're able to slightly keep up with your Winged Hive Tyrant if you're doing normal movement throughout the battlefield. Now the Winged Hive Tyrant has got the Will of the Hive Mind ability, so those Raveners are going to be able to reroll hit rolls of a 1, whether it's at range or in melee. Now the Winged Hive Tyrant has also got the Death from Above ability, so he can be deep striking in on turn 2 onwards, and he's also getting to reroll the charge roll on the turn that he comes in as well. Now the Raveners don't have the deep strike ability in terms of the Death from Above ability, but they've got the Death from Below ability, which is virtually the same thing, but they're tunneling in from underground. Now they're not going to be able to reroll their charge roll as soon as they come up, but it does mean you can get them as well as the Flying Hive Tyrant in the same location on the movement phase that they come in to the battlefield. Now the Raveners have got the Vicious Devourer's ability, so they get to reroll hit rolls of a 1 if they've not got any ranged weapons. So you might be thinking, why have you paired these with a Winged Hive Tyrant that gets them to reroll hit rolls of a 1? Now the reason for this is the Vicious Devourer's ability only works if you're not equipped with ranged weapons. So by equipping them with ranged weapons, you're still able to reroll hit rolls of a 1 due to the Winged Hive Tyrant's ability. So you can be taking either the 2 Scything Talons or the 2 Rending Claws, and also be taking either a Death Spitter, a Devourer, or the Spine Fists, but you're still able to reroll hit rolls of a 1 due to the Winged Hive Tyrant. Now there are other units within the Tyranid Codex that are able to keep up with the Winged Hive Tyrant, but it is moving 16 inches. But for me today, I'm going to be going with the Raveners. Okay, we're on to the last one. This one I kind of struggled with, if I'm honest with you. It's the Malanthrope. Now I personally don't rate the Malanthrope that much. It's just virtually a HQ Venomthrope under 9 wounds, so you can give it the Lookout Sir ability if you needed, all whilst getting the -1 to hit for units within 6 inches. And for this video, I'm going to be going with the Exocrine. Now the Exocrine is already a pretty tough nut to crack. It's already toughness 8 with 15 wounds with a 2+ armor save. You can whack an invuln save on there with the Dermic Symbiosis, but also having a -1 to hit penalty for your opponents to fire at your Exocrine is going to be very useful. You're then also giving it the potential of having the Prey Adaptation Aura ability to be able to reroll wound rolls of a 1 for your Exocrine firing at range. That's only if a model within 3 inches was destroyed, so that part is slightly situational. But yeah, toughening up your Exocrine, as well as potentially giving him the rerolls of 1s to wound, that's probably the best synergy that you can take from the Malanthrope. So guys, that's 10 Tyranid HQs and the best synergies. Now this is of course just my opinion. If you want to put your opinion down, put it in the comments down below, we'll have a discussion about it. And just a little plug to our other channel guys, if you weren't aware, we do have a Necrons channel, so you will find that in the description down below if you were to play Necrons, or you've got friends that play Necrons, maybe you want to refer them to our Necrons channel. But we are looking to replicate what we've done with the Necrons channel onto the Tyranids channel, and hopefully you guys will be liking the video and subscribing to the channel if you enjoyed the video today. We're going to be putting lots of reviews for Tyranid units on this channel, as well as synergy videos, as well as tier list videos and all that kind of jazz. So yeah, we're going to be going quite deep with the Tyranids. So other than that guys, all that is left to say, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.